Francesco Vezzoli is one of the more talented and unusual artists of our generation. He has managed to combine a somewhat passionate obsession with embroidery and an equally passionate obsession with cinema. Francesco, I met him a few years ago when he was making a fake reality TV show in Rome, which never aired, was never supposed to air, but starred Catherine Deneuve, Marianne Faithfull, among others. Since then, I've watched him make a fake trailer for Gore Vidal's Caligula. He put on a beautiful fake play starring Cate Blanchett, David Strathairn, Natalie Portman, and others this year. And he, at the Venice Biennale, staged a fake election which pitted Bernard-Henri Lévy against Sharon Stone. And I don't even now really understand who won. But anyway, Francesco is a person who cares about the sort of hard-to-define border between kitsch, celebrity worship, irony about celebrity, and some sort of understanding of what democracy is. He understands it better than me, so let's talk to him. Okay, let's start off with, what's with the embroidery? Like, how did that start?
Oh, I was a student in an art school in London.
An art school? Like St. Martin?
St. Martin, yes. And the cultural climate in London was very exciting. It was the moment where all the young British artists were exploding. And the language, the aesthetic vocabulary of these artists was very aggressive in a good way, was very bombastic, strong, powerful, and they were getting, for the first time in British culture, huge media attention, etc., etc. And I was really blown away, and I was really appreciative of what they were doing, but somehow I felt that I was never going to get anywhere if I were just going to try to mimic or imitate their language. And so I decided I wanted to go for something quite the opposite, and therefore I picked up embroidery, because to me, in an ironic way, it seemed like the most domestic, ridiculous, female, absurd, aesthetic language that a man could take in his hands.
But in an ironic way.
Yeah, I would say in an ironic way. And for me, there are three degrees. Like, painting can be a very macho, strong gesture. Watercolor is, embroidery is really like the lowest grade of intimacy, but as well decoration, because usually it's not meant to be used to make art, but it's mostly to make pillows or, kitchen pan holders and that kind of.
I've known you a long time. I never actually got that out of you before. That's fascinating. So you took the embroidery.
Yes.
You have a profound love of and knowledge of cinema.
Yes.
And you said, what could be more obvious than embroidering the faces of famous Italian divas and cinema stars?
Yeah, it all started with the obsession for some of these actresses, and reading avidly actresses' biographies, I found out that most of these divas, whether they were Italians or Americans, they were themselves very attached to needlework. My favorite was John Crawford, and there are quotes of her diary saying, "I'm going to marry Pickford House and I'm going to do needlework, and so I'll finally look like a proper housewife," or something like that. So, and I thought there was an interesting link between how these women had to deal with their public identity, and somehow they withdrew to the practice of needlework as a dynamic of isolation and retirement to kind of hide from the paparazzi.
Do you think that dynamic has changed? I mean, we now live in a world where Lindsay Lohan stealing a fur coat really is a significant story to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the genetics. I mean, what do you want? And how does that happen? Like, I mean, are we that superficial? This isn't about making charcoal or carrying wood on your head. How many people read the New York Post in the morning? Come on. All right. Oh, 4 people. I mean, this is ridiculous. Stefano, of course. Once, just ever. Because why do you read? There is some sort of interest in prurient level of people's lives that I kind of don't think existed before, or are we just better at expressing it now?
No, I have one strange obsession, which when I was
but go ahead.
when I was in high school, I studied a lot of Greek and Latin culture. So for me, there are a lot of dynamics in the contemporary world that somehow are replicas of things that we've seen in the past, whether it's sports chronicle or entertainment or theater. A lot of that stuff existed in the Greek or the Latin world. I must say, Lindsay Lohan stealing the fur coat and being on the front page of a paper, it's something that it's really an interesting symbol of our moment. I think the world is interested and obsessed with celebrities in many, many levels. You just asked me, you said, what do celebrities do now? Do they do needlework in their spare time? No, they do maybe charity, or they do politics, or they do
drugs.
Or drugs. So, but certainly there seems to be a very strong attachment and endless interest for all kinds of celebrities' vicissitudes and events in their life.
Now, I want to ask you more about that, but I think we have a couple videos, and I'd like to go to the first one first, which in Francesco's typical way is called The End. I think it's the first one you made.
Yes, the idea for today was to show the first and the last video I made, and this is really, I contacted this woman called Valentina Cortese that she still is like the most famous living Italian actress from that generation. She played a very important role in a François Truffaut movie for which she was nominated for an Academy Award. She's an Italian Lauren Bacall or Ava Gardner if she was alive, or something like that, or the two of them together. And I asked her to play with me in a sort of pop video while I was doing the needlework.
So let's see what Francesco did with the Italian Ava Gardner. Roll it.
Help! I need somebody. Oh, help! No, not just anybody. Help! Help! You know, I need someone. Oh, help me. Please. Help me. Oh, help me, please. Oh, no. When I was younger, I was so much younger than today, right? I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone. And I'm not so self-assured. Now, I find I've changed my mind. I've opened up the doors. Help me if you can. I'm feeling down. Oh, and I do appreciate you being around. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? And now my life has changed in so many ways. My independence seems to to shade in the haze. But every now and then I feel so secure. Oh, I know that I just need you like I've never done before. I know that I just need you like I've never done before. Help me if you can. I'm feeling down, yes. I do appreciate you being around. Help me to get my feet back on the ground. Oh, won't you please help me? Please.
You know, you scare me sometimes.
No.
So, you did that.
Yes.
You then decided it would be a good idea to make a fake reality TV show starring equally famous divas who would entertain and have sort of a dating game thing going on. And the only people that knew it was fake were you, Catherine Deneuve, Nutra Prada, who supported it, me, because I happened to be there at the time.
Well, for me, I mean, the artwork is, I don't know if it is the video, if it's the moment where you do it. I really wanted to create a short circuit. I went to the biggest producer of reality shows in Rome, and I said, I would like to make a pilot, which is what is technically called, and I would like it to be done in the most professional way, as if it was then something that you would then go and try to sell to the national television or whatever. And I said it should be like a version of The Bachelor, but with Catherine Deneuve looking for a boyfriend. And so the interesting situation was that we managed to create the illusion. So the people in the Italian television thought that there was some weird people that were ready to put a lot of money into such a strange project. And for me, the real, you know, I mean, we did the whole thing. We did the pilot. Catherine Deneuve came. Marianne Faithfull came. The whole project was inspired by a Pasolini film as a reference. We did the whole thing. For me, the moment where my artwork was accomplished was when I turned on the television a couple of days after we finished filming, and the most, like the Italian Katie Couric or whatever, she was hosting a program, and she said to one of her guests, "And we know you've been a guest in the other program, and we are not happy at all about that." And so that meant that the people in the industry bought into my, you know, I shouldn't say his name, but it was a real Orson Welles kind of fantasy to create this illusion. And so for a while, people thought that, you know, or at least the people in the industry thought I was producing.
But what does that mean? What do we learn from that? What do we learn from...
Oh, I learned a lot, because I learned from A to Z how these reality show dating games function. I mean, the degree of truth, of fakeness, what's prepared, what's not, and I just, you know, just by necessity, I had to penetrate the entire productive system. I mean, there is this industry I never was aware of, which I don't think you have much here, which is, we have for Italian television, which is the people who provide audiences. And they basically go to the southern of Italy, where the ratings for this type of television is much stronger, and they go especially in small villages, and they lure people with the promise of taking them to Rome for free, and they organize these huge, how do you say, these huge pullmans, these huge, you know, trains or big buses, and these people are driven from, let's say, Sicily or Naples all the way to Rome for one day to see a show. They go wild, because for them it's like an occasion of, you know, encountering a whole type of fantasies about celebrities they've never encountered. And, you know, there is, and this is one of the many things I've learned. And for me, in a nation like mine that is so heavily ruled by what the television offers, my gesture had, for me, a personal meaning and as well a political meaning from the way I...
So, by the way, all of you should immediately go home, turn on YouTube, and watch Francesco Vezzoli, E! True Hollywood Story, which is his self-parody of E! True Hollywood Story, starring himself, in which he describes himself as, in not very attractive terms, but as a sort of celebrity-grubbing glamour hound.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's, that was the moment where I felt that, I had, up until a certain stage, I had been addressing the celebrity industry, looking at it from the outside, but whenever I made one of these projects, I was thinking about whether I succeeded or not, that doesn't matter, but I was thinking about the artistic discourse. I was trying to say, look, I'm holding up a mirror. Our industry, our field, is turning into some kind of entertaining structure because museums are growing in numbers, in sizes, the financial interest in contemporary art is enormous. And I felt that many people didn't read that into my work because they just read Catherine Deneuve playing a reality show screened at the Venice Biennale, and that was enough, and they didn't go to the third line. And so I felt by doing a Hollywood true story, I was finally addressing in a direct way the fact that the art world was becoming a bit of a...
So one of the things that you're doing in the near future, which is really, I think, a very significant project, is an attempt to do a sort of Kinsey report for our time. Is that seems like real? I've written about these things a lot, and that never gets done because it's very difficult to go to people and ask them about their sexual practices and have them actually tell you the truth.
Well, this always starts from me looking at the art world, and I just realized that contemporary art museums have become these places which are catered for really now a mainstream audience in terms of number. And so I thought, what's an interesting way of using these places? And so I fantasized about creating a cabin where people could enter, a cabin that is displayed like an artwork, and people could enter this cabin and answer. And in such a way, through the cabin being whatever beautiful or presented as an artwork or whatever, you could lure people to go in and share their dirty secrets.
Believe me, I'd like to talk about that more, but I also want to show the next clip, which is, I think you all need to see whether Sharon Stone becomes president or not. So,
yes, this was the project that was commissioned. I was honored by the fact that Italy wanted me to represent at the last Venice Biennial, and I said I had this fantasy about, as much as I did a pilot for a reality show, a trailer for a movie that didn't exist, I wanted to do a campaign for an election that didn't exist. So I went to Washington, I contacted two highly respected campaign strategists, that's their name. One of them is Mark McKinnon, who is now doing John McCain, and the other one is from the studio that is still or was advising Bill Clinton. Don't ask me why they accepted, but they did. And so I told them I would have liked them to create these two ads as if Sharon Stone and Bernard-Henri Lévy, the French philosopher, were running for American presidency.
Okay, we're running a little out of time, so let's run this, and then maybe we'll... So, roll it.
One candidate for president stands apart,
Patrick Hill. It has to be our full
His life has been one built around the integrity and power of ideas,
Peace is not just
and the need for action.
In Iraq. Peace is day-to-day care for a nation. It's very important to remember that you lead a nation and that you're the voice
writer,
of the people.
professor, a diplomat sent to Afghanistan to support democracy and resist the Taliban.
Well, my son is a soldier, and I think she's going to do right by our men and women in service.
My first action will be to
Time we had a woman president for the sake of peace and equality.
She's the first one that's one of us. America.
We are not the world's greatest country for nothing. We have it. All we need to do is use it.
The America which is
I'd like to be
never
the best
so great
team leader that I could be, because I'd like to bring pride back to this country.
All humanity.
Peace is taking care of one another.
That's my creed.
Peace is making America proud of itself
Patrick
again.
Hill, a steady voice, a determined leader.
I'm Patricia Hill, and I approve this message.
That is eerily accurate. We actually have no time, but I do want to tell everyone that Francesco's just getting going. He wants to do a fake ballet, a fake opera. Who knows? He'll probably build a fake building like this.
A fake magazine?
A fake magazine, right? How could we already have? No, just kidding.
Plenty of them.
So that's kind of our introduction to a new way of looking at reality. There's a lot more. So thank you all very much for coming.